Welcome back. So, just to catch you up from last time, Julius has left this really unsettling meeting with Philip, and he's just completely shaken. He's wandering through the city, grappling with everything, his age, his loneliness, and this heavy cancer diagnosis. To try and find some balance, he ends up in a cafe and starts writing, wondering if he can somehow turn all this suffering into something meaningful. And then, later that night, completely out of the blue, he gets an email from Philip inviting him to a lecture on Schopenhauer. And you know what? Julius accepts just like that.
So, this quote, this is pure Schopenhauer. And it's the exact philosophy that Julius is, well, about to walk right into. Think about it. For a guy whose entire idea of a happy life just got blown up by a terminal diagnosis, this concept of a heroic life, it's got to be a pretty strange but maybe compelling alternative, right?
Okay, so here's where we pick things up. Julius is, well, he's completely unmoored. He's just left Philip's office. He walks out into the sunlight, and it's like his whole world has tilted. This is a man who spent his entire life being a guide for other people, and now, suddenly, his own compass is just spinning wildly. Everything he thought was his purpose, it feels like a complete illusion.
And this line really gets to the heart of it. You have to understand, Julius has always been driven. He's had patience, writing projects, teaching, research. His days were full. But right now, in this moment, all those things that gave his life meaning feel, arbitrary. Like just a bunch of projects his mind made up to stay busy, a ruse. And for the first time, having an afternoon with nothing to do isn't freeing. It's terrifying. It's just this deep, aimless confusion.
So as he's just aimlessly wandering, the city itself starts to feel like this giant, harsh mirror. It's reflecting all of his deepest fears right back at him, forcing him to look at the decay he's feeling on the inside.
And then he sees this old woman with a walker, and his first thought, completely unfiltered, is just brutally cruel. He's totally repulsed by everything about her. Her clothes, her dentures, this big wart on her face. It's just this raw, ugly look into his own terror of getting old and falling apart.
But then, almost immediately, that nasty thought gets crushed by this moment of just brutal self-awareness. He realizes he isn't just looking at some stranger. He's looking at his own future, his own nature. The wart, the walker, the wheelchair, all the things he just flinched away from. He knows now that's his destiny.
And the whole interaction just gets weirder. He kind of blurts something out to her, and she just snaps right back at him. The whole thing is so jarring, and it leaves him with this feeling that he's, losing it. And he traces it all back to that meeting with Philip. That conversation has clearly shaken him to his core. So, trying to get away from the street, and let's be honest, his own thoughts, Julius ducks into a Starbucks. But here's the thing. Instead of finding any kind of comfort there, his sense of being alone and this crushing weight of his own mortality, it just gets heavier. And the contrast inside is just stark. On one hand, you've got the cafe, buzzing with all this youthful energy, people flirting, life just happening. But inside Julius's head, it's a completely different reality. His melanoma is just continuing its silent invasion. He feels like the oldest person in the room, and he's painfully aware that his body is being attacked from the inside. It's like he's a ghost at the feast of life. He's watching these young women behind the counter, and it hits him with this painful finality that he's basically invisible to them. His time, it's past. And this isn't a movie, There are no do-overs, no second chances. It's this incredibly powerful, sobering moment where he truly gets it. Life moves in one direction only.
But right when he hits rock bottom, something else kicks in. All his years of training as a therapist take over. He knows he can't just sit there in a pit of self-pity. He's got to find a way to transform this suffering into something else. To do what the alchemists talked about, turn shit into gold.
And this is the pivot point. It's the exact advice he's given to so many patients over the years, right? Turn your focus outward, make something meaningful out of your pain. And he asks himself, why not take my own advice for once? Why not actually write about facing your own death? And once the idea is there, it just catches fire. It starts small, maybe a personal journal or a blog. But then it escalates, fast. How about an academic article? Or hey, a piece for the Sunday Times magazine. And then it hits him, the big one, a book. He'll call it Autobiography of a Demise. And just like that, in a single instant, he has a new project. He has a purpose again. So, with this new little spark of purpose, he heads back to his cold, empty house. And when he gets there, he finds a message from the last person on Earth he ever expected to hear from again. Yup, it's Philip. The same cold, seemingly ungrateful patient who sent him spinning out in the first place is now, completely out of the blue, kind of offering him a lifeline. The email is super formal, almost sterile, but it's an opening. It's a chance to finally understand this philosophy that Philip claims saved his life.
And Julius's response? It's immediate. No hesitation, no mulling it over. He just grabs the opportunity. He literally pencils it into his appointment book. A totally new path has just opened up in front of him.
Now, before he can get to that lecture, he has his weekly therapy group. And he's a little worried, that his own turmoil is going to be written all over his face. But the session takes this completely unexpected turn. The whole group ends up focusing on another member. And for those 90 minutes, Julius gets so absorbed in their courage that he completely forgets his own despair. It's just this powerful reminder of how healing it can be to turn your focus away from yourself. He actually leaves feeling a lot better.
This little shift in perspective leads to this final small act of rebellion. See, for his whole life, Julius has been afraid of outside marauders. He's always avoided raw fish because he was scared of parasites. But now he gets it. The real threat isn't from the outside, it's an inside job. So in this amazing moment of defiance, he goes and orders the ice sushi he's always been too scared to eat. It's this perfect symbolic act of accepting his new reality.
So let's just recap this roller coaster. It's only 16 days after his diagnosis. What started out as a really bad idea, meeting Philip, has kind of paradoxically opened this brand new door. That unexpected email has put him on a collision course with Arthur Schopenhauer, one of the most famously pessimistic philosophers ever.
Which, of course, leaves us with a huge question, doesn't it? Julius started his day staring into the abyss of meaninglessness. And now, he's heading toward a philosophy that flat out says a happy life is impossible. So, can a philosophy born from pessimism actually offer any kind of cure for the suffering of life? Is it possible that the way forward isn't about chasing happiness at all, but about striving to live a heroic life even when you're facing immense suffering?
Follow us to know how to implement Schopenhauer's cure to the life.